Ah, the Rubik's Cube. That colorful little box of frustration that has stumped so many of us. Come on, we've all seen them, scrambled, collecting dust on a shelf, eventually just given up on. But what if there was a simple, learnable method to finally conquer it?
Well, that's the big promise from our source material today. The claim is that you don't need to memorize dozens of crazy, complex moves. All you need are a couple of core sequences, algorithms really, that once you get them down will unlock this puzzle every single time. So, you ready to learn the secret?
Okay, let's get right into it. Before we can even think about solving, we kind of have to learn to speak the cube's language. It's all about understanding its basic parts and the shorthand for how they move.
First up, the centerpieces. You got to think of these as your anchors. They are fixed. They define the color for each face. So white is always opposite yellow, blue is opposite green, and so on. They never ever move in relation to each other.
Next, you've got your edge pieces. Pretty simple. These are the ones with two colors, and they sit right there between the centers. These are the pieces that'll eventually form the crosses on each side of the cube.
And finally, we have the corner pieces. As the name suggests, they're on the corners, and each one has 3 colors. These are kind of the last pieces of the puzzle we'll worry about, fitting them into their perfect little 3-sided homes. Now for the Rubik's Cube lingo. I know, it might look like some kind of secret code, but I promise you it's incredibly simple. Each face of the cube just gets a single letter. Learning this is absolutely key to following along.
See? It's really straightforward. R is for the right face, L for left, U for up. You get the idea. A letter by itself means you turn that face 90 degrees clockwise, just like you're tightening a screw. And if you see that little apostrophe, we call that a prime, it just means you turn the same face counterclockwise. That's it. And here's the best part. Believe it or not, this entire beginner's method, it really just boils down to 2 core sequences of moves. If you can master these 2, you've basically mastered the cube. Just look at these. They're perfect mirror images of each other. The right-hand version is R, U, R prime, U prime, and the left hand is just the opposite, L prime, U prime, L, U. It's so elegant because it means you really only need to learn one pattern, then just apply it to the other hand. It seriously cuts your memorization work in half. I would absolutely recommend pausing here, grab your cube, and just practice these moves until they feel like second nature. It's going to make everything else so much easier.
All right, you got those master moves down? Great. It's time for our first major goal, solving the entire bottom 2/3 of the cube. We're going to create a solid, complete base to work from. And we're going to do this in 4 distinct steps. First, we'll make something called the daisy. Then we'll use that to form a perfect white cross. After that, we'll pop in the white corners, and finally, place all the edge pieces for that middle layer.
Okay, so this first part is actually really fun because it's pretty intuitive. Just hold the cube so the yellow center is facing up and get all the white edge pieces around it. It'll look like a little daisy. Then, for each white petal, match its side color to the correct centerpiece and just turn that whole face 180 degrees. You do that 4 times, and when you flip the cube over, bam, a perfect white cross on the bottom. And here we go. This is where those master moves you practiced come into play. To get a white corner piece into its spot on the bottom, for example, you just position it on the top layer right above where it needs to go, and then you perform your right hand or left hand algorithm. A very similar process is used to place the middle layer edges. And just like that, you lock the first 2 layers completely into place.
And right about now, you should take a moment and just look at your cube. The bottom 2 layers, they should be totally solved. That's 2/3 of the entire puzzle, done and dusted. Seriously, the hardest part is over. All right, deep breath. Let's tackle that final layer. This is where it all comes together. We are in the home stretch now. And just like before, we're going to break it down into manageable chunks. We'll make a yellow cross on top, then we'll align its edges, then we'll get the yellow corners into the right spots, and finally, for the grand finale, we'll twist them the right way to solve the cube.
To get the yellow cross, we use this simple little combo. You turn the front face clockwise, then you do our trusty right-hand algorithm, R, U, R prime, U prime, and then you just turn the front face back counterclockwise. Now, you might have to do this sequence 2 or 3 times depending on your starting pattern, but don't worry, it will always result in a yellow cross. So the next big task is getting all the right pieces into the right places. Using a couple of specific algorithms, you'll first get the edges of your yellow cross to line up with their side colors. Then, you'll use another sequence to shuffle the yellow corners around until each one is sitting in its correct final position. Now, they might still be twisted the wrong way, and that's okay. The only goal here is to get every piece where it's supposed to end up.
This is it, the moment of truth.
Every single piece is in its correct location. They just need one final twist to solve the puzzle completely.
Take a deep breath. You are literally just a few turns away from a solved cube. You have to pay very close attention to this next part.
This is a direct warning from our source, and it's a good one. This final step is actually simple, but it's so incredibly easy to get excited, rush, and make a mistake. The absolute key is to trust the process, even when the cube starts to look more scrambled than ever before.
Okay, here's the final vital procedure. Hold the cube so the yellow side is facing you. Now pick an unsolved corner and put it in the top right position. Then you just repeat the right-hand algorithm over and over until that one corner is solved. It might take 2 times, it might take 4. Now, and this is the part you absolutely cannot forget, do not rotate the whole cube. Instead, only turn the front face to bring the next unsolved corner into that same top right spot, and repeat the whole process.
After you solve that very last corner, a single turn of the face should snap everything perfectly into place. And there it is, a solved Rubik's Cube. You actually did it. You now have the knowledge and the method to solve it anytime you want.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? The cube seems impossibly complex from the outside, but it just completely yields to a simple, repeatable process. It kind of begs the question, right? What other challenges in our lives that seem chaotic and unsolvable are just waiting for us to find the right algorithm?